Here's a question that makes most people uncomfortable. If you lost your job next month, not in 10 years, next month, how long would your current lifestyle survive? For someone in their 30s, that's a scary question. For someone in their 50s, it might be the most important financial question they'll ever answer, because your 50s don't feel dangerous. That's the trap. You've got the corner office, or at least a stable one. The house is worth more than you paid for it. The car is paid off. On paper, you look like someone who's made it. And yet this is the decade where quiet, reasonable-looking decisions can turn into the reason someone can't retire on time, or at all. Let's talk about why. Financial disasters rarely look like disasters while they're happening. They look like a nice truck, a generous check to a struggling adult child, a sure, I'll work until I'm 67 kind of plan, a retirement account stuffed with stock in the company you've worked at for 2 decades. None of that sounds reckless. That's exactly the problem. In your 20s and 30s, financial mistakes have time to heal. Time is basically a medic. It patches up bad decisions before they become fatal. But by your 50s, that medic has mostly gone home. The window to recover from a serious misstep is much smaller, and sometimes it isn't there at all. So today we're breaking down 5 ways this decade quietly drains people's retirements, not through laziness or stupidity, but through decisions that felt completely fine at the time. Mistake number 1, treating today's paycheck like a permanent guarantee. Let's invent a guy. Call him Marcus. 54 years old, works in logistics, been at the same company for 18 years. Solid income, no complaints. 1 year, Marcus finally pulls the trigger on the boat he's talked about since his kids were in elementary school. It's not insane he finances part of it. The payment fits comfortably into his budget. And honestly, why shouldn't he enjoy some of what he's worked for? 18 months later, his division gets absorbed into another department during a restructuring. His role doesn't exist anymore. Now, the boat payment doesn't care that his income just dropped. Neither does the insurance, the storage fees, or the maintenance. Meanwhile, his 401 NE contributions have stopped completely, right at the exact moment they mattered most. Here's the mental shift that matters. A strong paycheck today is not the same thing as a guaranteed paycheck tomorrow. In your 30s, a finance toy is a decades-long bet with plenty of time to pay itself off. In your mid-50s, that same purchase might still be sitting on your books when you're supposed to be living off your savings instead of feeding new debt. There's also a sneaky second layer here: market timing. If you're 35 and the market drops 30%, painful, but you've got 25 plus years to recover. If that same drop happens right as you're retiring at 62, and you're forced to pull money out while your portfolio is down, that damage can follow you for the rest of your retirement. It's not just about having money. It's about when you're forced to spend it. None of this means stop enjoying your money. It means big, lifestyle-inflating purchases in your 50s deserve way more scrutiny than they usually get. Mistake number 2, treating your retirement age like it's already booked. I'll retire at 67, say that out loud, and it sounds like a plan. It's not. It's a hope wearing a plan's clothes. You don't fully control this. Health can change. A parent or spouse might suddenly need full-time care. Your employer might decide your role is redundant 2 years before you wanted it to be. An entire industry can shrink around you. Note exact statistics on the gap between expected and actual retirement age should be pulled from current, verifiable sources. But this gap is a well-documented pattern worth citing with real numbers. What's consistently found is that people tend to plan for a later retirement, then they actually end up getting health issues, layoffs, and caregiving push the real exit date earlier than expected, often by years, not months. So flip the question. Instead of asking, what does my plan look like if everything goes right? Ask, what does my plan look like if I only get half the runway I'm expecting? If you're counting on 12 more working years and life only gives you 5, that's not a minor course correction. That's fewer contributions, an earlier withdrawal date, and investments with less time to grow. The fix isn't complicated, even if it's uncomfortable. Build your plan so that your ideal retirement age is the bonus scenario, not the load-bearing wall. If you could survive retiring 5 years earlier than planned, you've built real security. If your entire retirement collapses the moment a paycheck stops arriving on schedule, you haven't built a plan, you've built a hope. Mistake number 3, becoming the bank for 2 generations at once. This is the one nobody wants to talk about because it's tangled up in love and guilt, not spreadsheets. Picture this. Your mother needs help affording assisted living. Around the same time, your 27-year-old moves back into the guest room after a layoff or a rough breakup. Suddenly, you're not saving for retirement anymore. You're running 2 other households' emergency funds out of your own income. Nobody wants to say no to their parents. Nobody wants to tell their kid they're on their own. But here's the number that doesn't care about feelings. Your income is finite, no matter how many people are drawing from it. What's safe to say without a specific number is that unpaid family caregiving is extremely common in this age group, and it very often comes with real, ongoing out-of-pocket costs that people underestimate going in. The danger was never helping family. The danger is helping without a ceiling, quietly funding 3 households worth of expenses out of what was supposed to be 1 retirement. The uncomfortable fix: have the hard conversation early, not during a crisis. What can your parents actually afford? What are you willing to cover? And for how long? How long is temporary allowed to last for an adult child living at home? Put a number on it, even a rough one, before emotion makes that number for you. Mistake number 4, betting your whole future on one company without realizing it. This mistake is sneaky because it hides inside what looks like loyalty and success. Say you've worked at the same company for 25 years. You've gotten stock as part of your compensation for most of that time. The company's done well, so naturally, you didn't sell. Why would you bet against your own employer? Now pause and count how many things depend on that one company. Your paycheck depends on it. Your day-to-day career depends on it. And now, thanks to years of stock grants sitting untouched, a big chunk of your retirement account depends on it too. That's not a diversified portfolio. That's the same bet, placed 3 separate times, just wearing different outfits. If that company hits real trouble, you're not just risking a stock price. You're risking your job and your retirement savings on the exact same afternoon. The move here isn't predicting whether your employer will thrive or struggle. It's recognizing that your future income is already tied to that outcome. So your investments don't need to double down on the same risk. If you're sitting on a heavily concentrated position, gradually trimming it matters far more than trying to time the perfect day to sell. Mistake number 5, forgetting healthcare isn't just another line item. This is the mistake that ambushes people after they've already retired when it's hardest to fix. Here's the gap almost nobody plans for properly. Medicare doesn't start until 65. If you retire before that, and a lot of people do, voluntarily or not, you could lose your employer health coverage overnight, unless you're one of the shrinking number of people with retiree benefits. So picture retiring at 61. Your investments cover your expected lifestyle just fine, as long as healthcare costs about what it did while you were working. That assumption is where the plan quietly breaks. Premiums, deductibles, and out-of-pocket costs during those pre-Medicare years can be dramatically higher than what payroll deductions were covering. If early retirement is even a possibility for you, don't fold healthcare into your general monthly expenses estimate. Calculate the bridge years from your target retirement date to age 65 as their own separate financial project. "I'll figure it out later" is a plan that gets more expensive the longer you wait to make it. Bridging it together, look at all 5 of these side by side. A big purchase that assumes income never changes. A retirement date treated as a guarantee instead of a target. Family support with no ceiling. A portfolio secretly betting everything on one employer. Healthcare treated as an afterthought instead of its own line item. Different situations. Same underlying flaw. Every one of them assumes the future is going to cooperate. Sometimes it will. But a good financial plan isn't built on the assumption that things go right. It's built to survive the version where they don't. So here's the practical part. 3 things worth doing this week. 1. Add up every fixed monthly obligation. Housing, vehicles, insurance, debt, subscriptions, ongoing family support. Compare that total to your take-home pay. If most of your paycheck is already spoken for before you've made a single discretionary choice, that's not a discipline problem, that's a structural rigidity problem. 2. Open your retirement and brokerage accounts and actually calculate what percentage is tied to your employer's stock. Don't rate it by how much you trust the company. Rate it by how much of your future is riding on one name. 3. If early retirement is even on the table, sketch out the years between that date and Medicare eligibility as their own mini budget, separate from everything else. None of this is about predicting exactly what's coming. Nobody can do that. It's about making sure that whatever does happen, a layoff, a market dip, a parent who needs help, a diagnosis, doesn't take the entire plan down with it. The strongest retirement plans were never the ones with the best case projections. They're the ones still standing when life doesn't follow the spreadsheet. If this made you want to actually check your own numbers, that's the whole point. Small leaks, caught early, are easy to fix. Ignored for a decade, they sink the ship.